Gotta go. My name's Aaron Hug, and I grew up in Santa Barbara, California, and we used to live behind San Marcos High School, one of the houses that the fence butted up to the back of the visitor side of the football field. And then we moved into the house that I grew up in most of my life and where my parents still live at. And I think I was about 10 months old or so when we moved in there, is what I'm told. But that's where most of my home memories are from. And I don't think I have too many memories of the old house. Just like a glimpse of like being in the living room, or it's just little like pictures in my mind. Nothing significant really I can remember. But yeah, anyways, that's where the place where my folks are at now. And we had a lot, I think maybe 4 or 5 families whom also had kids that mostly we met through my parents' work or my brother starting school, and then he made friends that way, and then all our families would come together. But I remember the Rattray family, whom they have 5 kids, so we would go on a lot of vacations, maybe 3-4 times a year with that family, and we would go play at their house a lot, which was very close. And they went to the same elementary school as us too. We all went to Mountain View Elementary, which was right down the street from my folks' house. And I just remember doing stuff with the other families, like the Fowles and the Rattrays mostly, and like vacations that were a lot of multiple families would go on together. And then there's preschool, a couple preschools. There's the first one I went to was in Isla Vista, St. Michael's preschool, which I think is attached to a St. Michael's, like a church or something. But other than one picture that my mom's had forever, I can't recall any real memories of that place, other than that's where I went. And then the next place I remember going was right down the street from Kellogg School, which was, I don't know, was it like Goleta Valley Nursery or Goleta Valley like daycare or something. And I remember I was there with some kids whom I would end up going to elementary school with, and I remember they had one of those cement like cylinder things that you could look through and then go through, and I remember we used to play in that a lot. Remember they had a sandbox, and then I'm not sure why it stands out so vividly, but we had these little mats that you would sleep on when it was nap time, but it had a little blue like cover, but it was stitched in, and then underneath the little stitching they slid like a thin little pad of like foam. And I remember the preschoolers and we figured out that you could lift the little blue sleeve up, and then you could scoot your body inside, and we thought that was the coolest thing, that it was like a sleeping bag during nap time. And I remember one day, or it must have been multiple days, we would always do that, and we would just giggle and laugh. I thought that was really funny. And I want to say that we would play soccer and stuff out there, and I want to say that I had little girlfriends and whatnot, and I was maybe maybe competing with another boy over girls and stuff at that time. I think off the top of my head, those are the only things I'm really gathering from that time in my life. And then most of my memories really are all attached and hover around some sort of school. And then from kindergarten at Mountain View, I remember when Colin Robertson fell down from the top of that little tower we would climb up. And I remember we were almost at the top, and I turned back around to watch him climbing up, and he like missed a step, or he just fell all the way to the bottom, which seemed like a scene from Cliffhanger when I was 5 years old there looking down at it, but he was probably maybe 6 or 7 feet, but he fell all the way down onto his back, and it was like someone was falling backwards and just yelling no, and their hand was reaching up trying to grab onto something. I remember that vividly. And I also remember that my mom at the time she was just a PE consultant, or maybe she hadn't even gone back to PE yet, but at El Rancho, I think she was doing PE then. I also remember from before elementary school that my mom was a PE teacher at El Rancho school, and that I went one or more times to the jogathon at her school, and I ran, I want to say like 8 laps one time, and then I hung out underneath the table under a blanket eating snacks and just feeling exhausted, I guess. But also another memory that's connected to a school. So back Colin falling down, and then my mom, I remember on Thursdays she would come to school, volunteer to be a yard duty, or just one of the parents that would come and help out, either in the classroom or out in the playground. She would help out in the playground, and I remember like that was one of the days where I would have to eat all my lunch and make a real effort to eat a lot of my sandwich, which makes me think the other days I was just chucking it. And it's a great nod to America and how we don't waste food, or do we? And I also remember in kindergarten I gave Alex Bowling my chips one time, maybe 2 times, and then he just started expecting it after a while. And I remember one time significantly feeling like I was getting shook down in prison, and he told me give me your chips. And he might even kicked my feet or something. But I feel like I must have went and told on him, or just said no, or we started screaming at each other. But I don't remember punking out and just giving him his chips when it got all hardcore like that. But I do also remember from kindergarten is that I got married to Stephanie Wolf, I want to say first, and then we divorced each other. Then I got married to 2 girls at the same time. I think it was like a package Utah wife polygamy type thing, where I was married to Sylvia Easby and Sherry Cano at the same time. One girl was white, Easby, and the other, Sherry Cano, she was an Asian girl. And I think it equated to me just chasing them around at recess, and then just making sure I gave even amounts of chases to one and then the other, and not giving one wife too much attention versus the other one. And then we must have got divorced at some point. And then what else do I remember from kindergarten? The little metal tricycles, recess, the words and the sounds, and every day there was a new letter and the sounds to practice. And I just remember I liked it. And I've always said that I've liked school, because it's a place where you get to meet people, hang out with your friends, learn stuff, And by learn stuff, I don't have this like dying, deep, dark, dying passion for just thirst for knowledge or anything. But I think I just figured out that like quote unquote learning or doing what they want you to do in school is not very hard in my opinion if you just pay attention and even if you don't, then you can ask questions and then they will help you. And then all my years working in education, I've noticed that the kids that struggle or don't like it, they just don't want to ask for help, or they just don't want to buy into how easy it could be. But then again, I'm not diagnosed with any learning disabilities, and I came from a very supportive household where my folks put a premium and an importance on education and were never not available to help me, and really made it important. But regardless, I always liked going to school, and so I think, and I have fond memories of kindergarten too. And then in first grade, I went to Mr. Finland was my teacher, and he was a cool dude. And from first grade, I remember doing the times tables, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. And I remember I want to say within the top 5 students in my class of the top 5 that would get to the next level. And I was pretty stoked about how quickly I was doing that math stuff. And I believe I also started playing club soccer in first grade. And that's the year that my parents hired Joe Bruzace, who was my first soccer coach in AYSO. And then he was a student at UCSB at the time. And then my parents hired him to be our babysitter. He'd pick us up after school and do stuff with us. And then he also happened to be my current soccer coach, because he started coaching for the football club of Santa Barbara. And I started playing club soccer in first grade, and we would practice at Foothill School. And soccer was a big part of my life up until high school. And it was a big part of my brother's life too. He just didn't start playing club as early as I did, because I don't think they had a team for his age group then. But first grade, I just remember the times tables, Mr. Fenlon playing music on his guitar, and starting soccer, and what else? I guess that's it for now. I think I'm going to put a pause on my life story and its whatever significance or non-significance at this point. But we'll pick up in second grade in that year when we come back next. Okay, bye.